The steak was overcooked. I looked at both of them sitting at my kitchen table and said, "Get out of my house. Now." My son David's face went white. His wife Melissa didn't even flinch, just crossed her arms like I was the one being unreasonable. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up to where this all started. 3 months earlier, I was standing in my garage in Oakville, Ontario, organizing my toolbox on a Saturday morning. The kind of meaningless task you take on when you're 62 and recently retired from 35 years as a machinist at Ford. My phone rang. David. "Hey, Dad. Got a minute?" "Always got time for you, son. What's up?" "Melissa and I were talking, and we want to buy a house. The market's crazy right now, and we're thinking if we don't jump in soon, we'll never be able to afford anything." David was 28, worked in IT support at a hospital in Mississauga. Good job, steady income. Melissa was a dental hygienist. They'd been together since college, married for 2 years. "That's great news," I said. "Your mother would have been so proud." My wife Patricia had passed 4 years earlier. Breast cancer. David was all I had left. "The thing is," David continued, "we need help with the down payment. Houses are going for $800,000, even for something small. We've saved $60,000. But we need at least $160 for 20% down. $100,000. I sat down on my workbench. It wasn't that I didn't have it. Patricia and I had been careful. Between my pension, our savings, and the life insurance payout, I was comfortable. Not rich, but comfortable. "That's a lot of money, son." "I know, Dad. I know. But we'd pay you back. We're looking at a place in Burlington. 3 bedrooms, good schools nearby for when we have kids. We could set up a payment plan, whatever works for you. Grandkids." Patricia had always wanted grandkids. "Let me think about it," I said. I didn't need to think long. 2 days later, I called David back. "I'll help you with the down payment, but I want to do this properly. We'll draw up a loan agreement. 5 years, interest-free. Sound fair?" "Dad, thank you. Thank you so much. You're my son. Of course I'm going to help you." We met at my lawyer's office the following week. Robert Chen had handled Patricia's estate and our wills. Good man, thorough. "Robert, I need a loan agreement drawn up. 100,000 to my son, interest-free, to be repaid over 5 years. Robert looked at me over his reading glasses. "Richard, are you sure you want to do this as a loan? Many parents just gift down payment money to their children." "I want to teach him responsibility," I said. "Patricia and I worked hard for everything we had. David needs to understand the value of that." "Understood. I'll have the documents ready by Friday." David and Melissa came over to sign the papers. We sat at my dining room table, the same table where Patricia and I had eaten dinner for 30 years. "This is really generous, Richard," Melissa said. She always called me Richard, never Dad. "We really appreciate it." "Just make sure you take care of my son," I said, trying to keep it light. She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. The money was transferred the next day. Within a month, they'd closed on a 2-story house in Burlington. Nice place, I had to admit. They invited me over for dinner to celebrate. "Dad, I want to show you something," David said after we'd eaten. He pulled out his phone. "Melissa and I have been talking, and we want to set up a joint account for the loan repayments. That way everything's transparent, and you can see we're making payments on time." "That's not necessary, son. I insist. We're going to start paying you back $2,000 a month, starting next month. This way you can track it all." Against my better judgment, I agreed. We went to the bank the following week, TD Canada Trust, on Appleby Line, set up a joint checking account. David and Melissa would deposit $2,000 on the 1st of each month. The first payment came through exactly on time, October 1st, 2025, $2,000. Then November, another $2,000. December, same thing. I barely looked at the account. The money was coming in like clockwork. I trusted my son. January rolled around. New year, fresh start. I decided to check my accounts online, make sure everything was in order for tax season. I logged into the joint account. My stomach dropped. There were the deposits. October, November, December, January. $2,000 each month. But there were also withdrawals. October 15th, $1,800. Grocery store. October 22nd, $200. IKEA. November 3rd, $1,500. Someplace called Lavish Interiors. November 18th, $3,000. M.R. Consulting. December 5th, $1,200. S.A.Q. Liquor Store. December 20th, $2,500. Best Buy. January 8th, $1,700. Air Canada. And on and on. I scrolled through. Every withdrawal had one thing in common. The initials in the transaction details. M.R. Melissa Richards. My hands were shaking. I printed out the statement. 6 pages of deposits and withdrawals. They'd been putting in $2,000, then taking out anywhere from $1,200 to $3,000, sometimes multiple times a month. I added it up. They'd deposited $8,000 total over 4 months. They'd withdrawn $23,000. That was my money. Money I'd loaned them for a house down payment, which they'd already spent. This was supposed to be repayment money. I picked up the phone, put it down, picked it up again, called David. Hey Dad, what's up? David, we need to talk about the joint account. Silence. What about it? His voice had changed. Defensive. I'm looking at the statements. You and Melissa have been withdrawing money. Oh, that. Yeah, Melissa needed some things for the house. Furniture, you know. We're settling in. David, you've taken out $23,000. That's not furniture money. That's more than you've deposited. Dad, look, it's complicated. The house needed more work than we thought. We had to buy a new water heater, fix the deck, get the furnace serviced. Then you should have talked to me. This account was for loan repayments. That was the agreement. We're still paying you back. Look at the deposits. You're putting in $2,000 and taking out $3,000. That's not paying me back. That's using me as a bank machine. Dad, you don't understand. We're struggling here. The mortgage, the property taxes, utilities, everything's more expensive than we thought. Then maybe you bought a house you couldn't afford. The line went quiet. David, I have to go. We'll talk later. He hung up. I sat there staring at the phone. My son had just hung up on me. I called Robert Chen the next morning. Richard, good to hear from you. How can I help? I need to close a joint bank account and possibly revise the loan agreement I made with my son. I see. Has something happened? I explained the situation. Robert listened without interrupting. Richard, I'm going to be blunt with you. You have a legal agreement. David and Melissa are in breach of that agreement if they're using funds meant for repayment for other purposes. You have several options. You could demand immediate repayment of the full amount. You could take legal action, or you could renegotiate the terms. What would you recommend? That depends on what you want. Do you want your money back, or do you want to preserve your relationship with your son? That was the question, wasn't it? Let me think about it. But first, help me close that joint account. I can have the paperwork ready this afternoon. I drove to the bank that same day, closed the account, transferred the remaining balance to my personal account. It was $1,247. They'd bled it almost dry. That evening, David called. Dad, what the hell? I tried to deposit this month's payment, and the account's closed. That's right. I closed it. Why? Because you and Melissa were using it as your personal slush fund. That wasn't the agreement, David. We needed that money. No, you wanted that money. There's a difference. If you needed it, you should have come to me and explained the situation. Instead, you went behind my back. I can't believe you're doing this. We're family. Exactly, we're family. And families are supposed to be honest with each other. So what now? You want all $100,000 back right now? Because we don't have it. I know you don't have it. I want you to honor the original agreement. $2,000 a month, sent to me directly. No joint account. I'll send you my account information. Fine, whatever. He hung up again. February 1st came and went. No payment. February 5th, still nothing. February 10th, I texted David, expecting your payment. Sorry, Dad. Things are tight this month. We'll catch up next month. March 1st, no payment. March 5th, I called. David, you've missed 2 payments now. Dad, I told you, money's tight. Melissa's hours got cut at the dental office. We're doing our best. This isn't about your best. This is about keeping your word. We have a legal agreement. Oh, so now you're going to sue your own son? That's real nice, Dad. Mom would be ashamed of you. That one hit me like a punch to the gut. Don't you dare bring your mother into this. She taught you better than to lie and steal from family. I'm not stealing. I'm just late on a couple of payments. You've taken $23,000 that wasn't meant for you. In my book, that's stealing. Melissa was right about you. You're a selfish old man who only cares about money. What? She said you'd do this. She said the moment we hit a rough patch, you'd turn on us. And she was right. My heart was pounding. Melissa said that? Yeah, Dad, she did. Maybe if you weren't so controlling with your money, we wouldn't be in this situation. I gave you $100,000. How is that controlling? You loaned it to us. There's a difference. You held it over our heads with that stupid legal agreement. A real father would have just given us the money. A real son wouldn't have stolen from his father. Silence. David, I think you and I need to sit down face to face and talk this through. I don't have time for this. I have to go. Click. I sat in my kitchen, alone, as the sun set through the window. The same kitchen where I'd taught David to tie his shoes. Where Patricia had baked his birthday cakes. Where we'd celebrated Christmas mornings. How had it come to this? I didn't hear from David for 3 weeks. No calls, no texts, no emails, nothing. Then, on a Thursday evening in late March, my doorbell rang. I opened the door. David and Melissa stood on my porch. David looked uncomfortable, hands in his pockets. Melissa wore a tight smile. Can we come in? David asked. I stepped aside. They sat at the kitchen table. I'd been making dinner. Steak, baked potato, salad. There was only one plate on the table. We wanted to talk to you, Melissa said. Not David, Melissa. I'm listening. We've been going through a really tough time financially. The house is more than we can handle right now. We need help. I looked at David. He wouldn't meet my eyes. What kind of help? We need you to forgive the loan, Melissa said. We can't pay it back. Not now, maybe not ever. And we need another $20,000 to get caught up on our mortgage payments. I blinked. You want me to forgive a $100,000 loan and give you another $20,000? We're family, David finally spoke up. Dad, we're drowning here. If we don't get help, we're going to lose the house. The house you bought with my money. Our house, Melissa corrected. We bought it. You helped with the down payment, which you agreed to pay back. Circumstances change, she said. We didn't know Melissa's hours would get cut. We didn't know the furnace would break. We didn't know. Life is expensive, I interrupted. I know that. I've lived 62 years, but knowing that, you still bought an $800,000 house. You still went to IKEA and spent thousands on furniture. You still took a trip on Air Canada. Those were choices. We deserve to live our lives. Melissa's voice rose. We're young. We shouldn't have to pinch every penny. No one's asking you to pinch every penny. I'm asking you to honor an agreement you made freely. An agreement we can't keep, David said quietly. Dad, please. We need this. If you don't help us, we're going to lose everything. I looked at my son, really looked at him. When had he become a stranger? You're not going to lose everything. You'll lose a house. That's not the same thing. It's our home, Melissa snapped. It's a building. Home is something you build together, not something you buy on credit and expect someone else to pay for. This is unbelievable. Melissa stood up. You're seriously going to let your own son become homeless? You won't be homeless. You'll rent an apartment, like millions of people do. David, are you going to let him talk to me like this? Melissa turned to my son. David looked between us. Then he stood up too. Dad, if you don't help us, I don't think we can have a relationship anymore. The words hung in the air. Are you giving me an ultimatum? I asked quietly. I'm telling you the truth. If you can't support us when we need you, then what's the point? The point is I'm your father. I raised you. I loved you. I taught you right from wrong. And what you're doing right now is wrong. We're asking for help. No. You're demanding money and using our relationship as blackmail. Melissa put her hand on David's arm. Come on, we're wasting our time here. David hesitated. For just a moment, I saw my little boy in there. The one who'd cried when his goldfish died. The one who'd hugged me when Patricia passed. Then Melissa pulled him toward the door. David, I said. He stopped. If you walk out that door without making this right, things are going to change between us. Then I guess they're going to change, he said. And he left. I stood there in my kitchen, the steak getting cold on the counter, and I cried for the first time since Patricia's funeral. But I wasn't done. The next morning, I called Robert Chen. I need to update my will. and I need to know my legal options regarding the loan. We met that afternoon. Robert laid it out clearly. You can sue for breach of contract. You'll win, but it will cost you money in legal fees, and it will destroy your relationship with your son. You can write it off as a gift and take the tax deduction, or you can wait and see if circumstances change. What about my will? That's your decision. What are you thinking? I want David removed as beneficiary. Everything goes to charity instead. The Heart and Stroke Foundation. Patricia would have liked that. Robert nodded. I can draft that for you. But Richard, I have to ask. Are you sure? This is permanent. My son just told me our relationship isn't worth more than money. I'm sure. The new will was signed by the end of the week. I didn't contact David. He didn't contact me. April passed. Then May. In June, I got a letter from a law firm I didn't recognize. I opened it with shaking hands. It was a cease and desist letter, on behalf of David and Melissa Richards, demanding I stop harassing them about the loan, claiming elder financial abuse, and threatening to file a restraining order if I continued to contact them. Elder financial abuse. They were accusing me of abusing them. I called Robert immediately. They're trying to flip the narrative, he said, after I read him the letter. It's a common tactic. They know they're in the wrong, so they're painting themselves as victims. What do I do? Nothing. Don't contact them. Keep all documentation of the loan, the agreement, the bank statements showing the withdrawals. If they pursue this, we'll respond through proper legal channels. But Richard, I don't think they will. This is intimidation. He was right. I never heard from the law firm again, but I also never heard from my son. Summer turned to fall. The leaves changed color in my backyard. I raked them alone. October 1st, 2026. 1 year since the first loan payment. My doorbell rang at 6:30 in the evening. I almost didn't answer, but something made me walk to the door. I opened it. David and Melissa stood there. They looked different, thinner. David had circles under his eyes. Dad, David said, can we talk? I don't think we have anything to talk about. Please, 5 minutes. I don't know why I let them in. Maybe because he was still my son. Maybe because I was lonely. They sat at the same kitchen table. I'd been cooking dinner. Steak again. Ironic. We're sorry, David started. I waited. We made mistakes, Melissa added. Big mistakes. We got in over our heads with the house. We spent money we shouldn't have. We blamed you when it was our fault. Why are you telling me this now? Because we're losing the house anyway, David said. His voice cracked. The bank foreclosed. We have to be out by the end of the month. We've been living off credit cards. We're $30,000 in debt, not including what we owe you. And you want more money. No, David shook his head. We don't want money. We want to make things right. I got a second job, night shift at a warehouse. Melissa's working full-time at a new practice. We're going to move into a basement apartment in Etobicoke. We're going to pay off our debts, including what we owe you. It's going to take years, but we'll do it. I looked at Melissa. Is that true? She nodded. I convinced David to ask you for money. I convinced him we deserved it because you had plenty. I was wrong. I was entitled and selfish, and I'm sorry. I sat back in my chair. Why should I believe you? Because I don't expect you to forgive me, David said. I know I destroyed your trust. I know I hurt you, but I want you to know that I understand what I did wrong, and I'm going to spend however long it takes to make it right. Not because I want your money or your house when you die, because you're my father and you deserved better. Tears were running down his face. Mom would be so disappointed in me. My throat tightened. Yes, I said. She would. We sat in silence. I changed my will, I said finally. You're no longer a beneficiary. Everything goes to charity. David nodded. I understand. Good. I stood up, walked to the counter. The steak was done. I looked at them both. Really looked at them. Get out of my house, I said. David's face crumpled. But not forever, I continued. You want to make this right? Here's how it's going to work. You're going to pay me back $200 a month. Every month. No excuses. You're going to send me a text every month when you make the payment. Not because I don't trust you, but because that's how we rebuild trust. With consistency, we can do that, David said quickly. I'm not finished. You're going to go to financial counseling, both of you. You're going to learn how to budget, how to save, how to live within your means. And you're going to send me proof that you're going. Okay. And you're going to come to dinner once a month. Here. We're going to sit at this table and talk. Really talk. Not about money. About life. David was crying openly now. Thank you, Dad. Don't thank me yet. If you miss a payment, if you lie to me, if you break your word again, we're done. Permanently. I'm too old to play these games. Understood? Understood. Melissa wiped her eyes. Thank you, Richard. I promise we won't let you down. We'll see, I said. The first payment came through on November 1st. $200, exactly, with a text. First payment made. I love you, Dad. They came for dinner on the third Sunday of November. We ate roast chicken. We talked about David's new job, Melissa's dental practice, the weather. We didn't talk about money. It was awkward, but it was a start. December's payment came on time. They came for dinner again. This time Melissa brought dessert. January. On time. Dinner. David asked if I wanted to go to a Maple Leafs game with him. I said yes. February. On time. They showed me their budget spreadsheet. They'd paid off $3,000 in credit card debt. It's been 5 months now. They haven't missed a payment. They come to dinner every month. I haven't changed my will back. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I won't. But here's what I've learned. Love without boundaries isn't love. It's enabling. When you give money to family, expect it to be a gift. If you want it back, make it a legal agreement and be prepared to enforce it. Trust is earned, not owed. Even with family. Especially with family. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is to let them face the consequences of their choices. David and Melissa are learning that now. They lost their house. They're living in a small apartment. They're working hard, paying off debt, building their lives properly this time. And slowly, painfully, we're rebuilding our relationship. Not because I gave them what they wanted, but because I love them enough to say no. That's the lesson I wish someone had taught me earlier. You can love someone and still hold them accountable. You can be generous and still have boundaries. You can forgive someone and still protect yourself. Patricia used to say that the hardest part of being a parent is knowing when to catch your child and when to let them fall. I caught David his whole life. Last year, I let him fall. And you know what? He's learning to stand on his own 2 feet. That's worth more than any amount of money I could have given him. The steak I'm cooking tonight is perfect, medium rare, just the way I like it. I'm setting 3 plates on the table. David and Melissa are coming for dinner. And this time, when we sit down together, we'll all know exactly what we're worth.